You mentioned with all the swing changes you've been going through, after the win at Valspar, you were impressed you could get it to the wire, maybe even a little bit surprised you were able to win under those circumstances. This week, would you have that same level of surprise if you were to win this week?
Yeah, there'd definitely be some of that left in there because I'm still not entirely happy with where I'm at. What I'm happy about is the progress that I've made since, right before the Valspar and even since the Valspar. I think I'm definitely trending in the right direction, but there's still just some stuff left in there that just doesn't allow me to play to the level that I want to play at. But, at the Valspar, I proved to myself with even worse ball striking that I can still be competitive. And I think the tournament here last year was also another proof of that. So, yeah, I do beat myself down with kind of where I'm at technically. And it's just, it's not fun when you're out there trying to predict a certain golf shot and the ball flight does the opposite. But even despite that, I don't doubt my abilities to get the ball in the hole. So we'll see what happens this week.
Viktor, when you have a move or position in your swing that you know is the one you want to be in, but it just feels weird, like what's the process for like rewiring those feels? Like how do you make it feel a little better and eventually good?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Feel is just so subjective, and feels change all the time. I can still rely on the same feels right now as I used to, but the feels now have changed. So I think I wire my brain to new feels if I see that the ball is doing what I want it to do. If I'm seeing objectively good results, it's easy to get over the weirdness of how it feels. So I do kind of try to separate what I feel and what the ball is objectively doing, because that's ultimately what we're doing. We're trying to play good golf, and so just trying to divorce that, but at the same time relying on some of that, because that is a feel game. If you can't equate your feels to a good shot, then that's also no good. So.
And is it just kind of like a reps thing? Like, do you just see enough good results with a weird feel that it just starts matching up eventually? Or?
Some of it is reps, but it's you have to get to the root cause of something. And I've just had a move in my golf swing for the past 5-6 years that's just been so effortless, and it's been very easy to predict. And now suddenly the last couple of years it hasn't been doing that. So I have to continue to kind of figure out what exactly is the mechanism or the way to train that old move back in there so I can predict where the ball is going to go again. So it's not necessarily a reps thing, because you're just ingraining the movement that you already have even deeper. So you kind of have to, deconstruct it in a way.
All right, we'll go to Jim on 3.
Viktor, did you just register today? And if so, where have you been since you left the tournament last week?
Yeah, I still haven't registered, so I'm about to do that after this press conference. Yeah, I've just been practicing.
All right, we'll go to number 10.
Hey, Viktor. We've seen you grinding late out there a couple nights. Just want to know how you're feeling. What's one aspect that you're really trying to focus on this week going into it?
Yeah, this week is obviously it's a big driving week. The course is so long. Fairways are wet. You're going to have to drive it long and straight. And driving is usually the best part of my game, but recently it's been tough for me. I try to go back to my old reliant fade off the tee. And when I do that, because of just how the club is moving, it's just not allowing me to do that. And I'm hitting a lot of double crosses, missing a lot to the left, which for me is, I can kind of deal with an overcut, but when the ball is drawing to the left, and sometimes when it's not doing that, it's starting right and going right, that's a tough place for me to be. So I just got to get to the bottom of that. And if I can get the ball consistently in the fairway off the tee, even though I don't feel amazing, my iron play has been pretty solid this year, so I can still get the ball in the hole.
All right, we'll go to 1 on 8.
So let's try in English now. So
yep.
So about the changes, and I feel like the story is, when do you stop doing changes? Are you always working on some small or bigger changes? No? So,
I mean, you're always changing something, whether you're doing it consciously or unconsciously.
Yeah.
You know, I think I've just been a little bit more vocal about it. So people ask me all the time, it's like, why are you always changing? Like, you can ask any guy in the field here, what are you working on this week? And they're going to have an answer for you. Obviously, I would like the changes to be less complicated. But when I'm not in the place where I need to be, you have to make changes to get to the place where you want to be. And then you change less things. I think I've been a little bit too flippant maybe in the past of exploring too many areas in trying to get better. But as I've alluded to in the past, is that the majority of times I've done that, I've actually gotten better. And I am almost addicted in a way to try to get better because it's worked out so well for me in my career. But in this place where I'm at, there's just a couple key pieces that are preventing me from playing my best golf. So I'm not content with playing the way that I am right now, so I have to make changes. That's just how it goes.
Yeah. And one other thing is last year you got really close, no? And so what would be that extra thing that you would need to get to the top, no? That didn't work last year.
Yeah, I mean, you can frame it like that. I framed kind of last year as a huge positive because I think, although I shouldn't have probably admitted that either, but I almost didn't play last year and I almost won the tournament. So it's like I look at that as a huge win. I almost won a major championship without feeling good about my game at all. So I don't look at that as like, man, I'm lacking a bunch of stuff. I mean, if I can get the rudimentary part of the game back to where it should be, I don't doubt my abilities to win a golf tournament. And so that's why I'm focusing solely on getting back to where I've been before, because I'm a lot more mature, I'm a lot more experienced, and I have more tools in my arsenal now to compete at these big events.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go back down here to 3.
Hey, Hovland, I have a couple for you. In terms of making changes, is there a point or a feeling that you'll get that will take playing the week of a green light to a red light?
Say that one more time.
Like when you're making changes and you're trying to grab the feel and you're like, I don't know if I want to play this week or if I do. Is there a point or a feeling where you say it's not a green light this week to play?
Doesn't quite work like that. I mean, there's some tournaments where, major championships are, you don't skip those events, but it gets to a point where like, man, it just doesn't feel like you're able to compete. And if you're not able to compete, at least for me, I don't want to be out there and play, you know? I'm not trying to just grind to barely make the cut. That's not fun. I'd rather spend that week to try to get better because, to play your best golf, you can't think about a bunch of mechanics. You have to go out there and let your unconscious swing just do what it's supposed to do. But if that ball is going all over the place, that's tough. I'd rather be at home and try to figure that out. And then when I feel ready, I'll play a tournament. That's just kind of how my mind works.
And then looking at the course, the final stretch, the Green Mile, is really difficult. What makes it that way?
It's just long. 16 is just a really long hole, but it's pretty generous off the tee, and even the green is pretty big. But 17 is really hard hole with the water all along the left side, and if they have the tee boxes all the way back, you're hitting a 5 or 4 iron, and even though you got room to the right, there's a little slope down there that's a difficult up and down, and then obviously 18, you can't hit it right, you can't hit it left, and even if you hit it in the fairway, it's a pretty difficult second shot as well. So it just forces you to hit good shots. This course doesn't allow you to hide.
All right, thank you, Victor. Appreciate it.
Viktor Hovland, one of the more entertaining players when he steps up to the microphone, very candid, very honest, and he will be going off in the afternoon alongside Bryson DeChambeau and Gary Woodland, that at 1:47 p.m. Eastern Time. We've seen a number of other great players. Jordan Spieth, again, chasing the career Grand Slam at 1:25, playing alongside Patrick Reed and Ludwig Oberg. Viktor Hovland, I mentioned the fact that he won the Valspar Championship. Gets a pretty strong field, too, by the way. That's his only top 10 this year. He's currently 108th in scoring average on the PGA Tour. He does seem like the wheels are constantly turning.
Do you have an Advil? Because I need one.
Yes. No, I don't. No, I don't.
Yeah.
So you're kind of confused.
I love the guy, and I think what he does for the game and who he is fun, but I would have done something else with my life if I thought like that on the golf course. So he's very unique that way, and
he loves the puzzle. He's trying to figure out the puzzle.
But you and I were taught. I'm not saying. Listen, he's a better player than I was. There's no doubt. I'm gonna say that. Okay, obviously, but growing up playing the game, you were taught to score. You're not going to have your best stuff all the time.
Right.
And you've got to figure it out. And yet, when he doesn't have his best stuff, he's like, I'm going to go home and work on it. Well, you could be at home for a month. He could be at home for 2 months if he doesn't have his best stuff. That's the thing. It's just, but yet he's proven to himself, he didn't have his best stuff at Valspar.
No.
He wins the golf tournament. He almost withdrew from the PGA Championship last year. He didn't have his best stuff at the PGA last year. He finished what, third? Finished third and almost won the golf tournament. So what drives me nuts about this talent, as talented as he is that he doesn't trust himself when he doesn't have his best stuff. He can still do it. I want so badly to just shake him and go, Viktor, you're an amazing talent. You can do this. You can play, you can win golf tournaments. You can win the biggest golf tournaments without your best stuff.
So his problem is the pursuit of perfection that's
100%.
never attainable.
It's eventually, it hasn't yet, and I hope it never does, but I'm worried about it paralyzing him at some point.
And what is amazing to me, sorry to jump in, is it doesn't appear to have eroded his confidence. And that's the part that I find fascinating. Most players sit in the press room delusionally talking about their games, because if they say the real troubles out loud, it becomes real. And he has zero problem with exposing the weaknesses publicly that he's struggling with.
Yeah, very vulnerable.
No,
It's fascinating. I love it.
I think that's fantastic. Quite honest.
And he's incredibly self-aware of all of
Yeah,
his...
he's the most self-aware, most realistic player on the PGA Tour. I did a feature on him last year, basically the premise of how did the best player in the world in fall 2023, why would he possibly blow it all up and try again? And at that time, when he was still sort of early in this reinvention, it was because he was curious and he caught himself going down rabbit holes. He's not trying to do that anymore. He's essentially just trying to find his way home. He's always had an addiction, to use his word, of adding pieces, mostly because it's always worked. When he was younger and he was in college, he hit it low. He taught himself to go hit it high. Worked out perfectly. He was kind of chubby in junior golf and college. He ended up being now one of the most sculpted players on the PGA Tour. He was never a strong putter growing up. He taught himself aim point and has learned this. So he's gone down these rabbit holes and it's been successful, and it has, to use one of your words, Paige, deluded him into thinking he can just continually do this with his golf swing. What he's trying to do now with Grant Waite is get back to home base, to figure out his driver swing, because that is what all of his scoring is predicated on.
And he goes through a lot of swing instructors. Right there, you see him working with Grant Waite. This is the second chapter with Grant Waite. He worked with him, then went back to Joe Mayo, who helped him win the FedEx Cup. Then they separated, and now he's with Grant Waite, you see there, who was a player on the PGA Tour. And he has
swingers of the golf.
Yeah, a very fascinating mind, known in the industry as having good technique.
Yeah.
But there you see them working and going through all the mental stuff and the sequencing, and it's interesting.
And to be fair to him, all of this was very similar to what happened at Valspar, and he ended up winning the golf tournament. He would go into the after the round interviews talking about how he wasn't fully satisfied with what was going on with his golf swing, but yet he managed to get it done.
That's the most amazing part to me, is that you can sit there and go, I don't have my best stuff. I don't have my best stuff. And yet you still have the confidence, to your point, to go ahead to get it done. When you can sit there and talk almost, I don't want to say negatively, realistically, I guess, about what you really have as a player, where to your
It was
point, most people are delusional. Oh, no, I'm playing great. And you're shipping it all over the,
the numbers maybe
lot.
don't support that.
Yeah, and the numbers don't support that. But he can make himself believe it. It's almost, he's such a positive mindset on everything that he does.
I will say, though, even though he was talking negatively, or at least realistically, about his ball striking in Valspar, he had one tool that he has not had the entire year show up that week, and that was his putter. You talk about wanting to try to figure out his driver. Well, his putting's been horrible this season, with the exception of Valspar, and you can see this is week by week, negative strokes gained, negative strokes gained, negative strokes gained. Look at the Arnold Palmer, horrible. And then Valspar, a bright spot, and of course RBC, also a positive putting week. Just a few weeks ago, excuse me.
Do you think that's just neglect, Paige, that he's devoting so much time, so much focus on trying to get his swing in the proper place that he's just sort of, look, let me figure out my full swing and then we'll...
That's a reasonable theory. That's a reasonable theory.
So a complex mind, that is Viktor Hovland, trying to figure things out here at the PGA Championship on the range there.